So snap your hands.
Shepherds, why this jubilee? Why your joyous strains prolong? What the gladsome tidings be, which inspire your heavenly song? In excelsis Deo, in excelsis Deo. Come down, bending knee, Christ the Lord, the newborn King. Come down, bending knee, Christ the Lord, the newborn King. Come down, bending knees, Christ the Lord, the newborn King. Come down, bending knees, Christ the Lord, the newborn King.
Come on, church, let's sing this. Come on.
Come down, bending knee, Christ the Lord, the newborn King. Come down, bending knees, Christ the Lord, the newborn King.
Oh, you give it up for the band leading us tonight. Awesome stuff. You go ahead and have a seat for a second. If you don't know me already, my name is Chaz. I'm super thrilled that you're here. Merry Christmas. This is super cool getting to have a service together. I'm glad that you guys came here on a Saturday night. Who's expecting gifts from Santa on Monday morning? Okay, raise your hand. Then who thinks they're going to get a bunch of coal? Raise your hand. And yeah, that's exactly right, Anthony. I think you'd get coal too if it was real. I'm just being real. Okay, I'm just playing with you, bro. But Danny gave 2 thumbs up. But I'm just glad that you guys are here. What we're going to do here in a second, and we got some cool stuff planned for the rest of our service, but we're about to enter a time of communion. And under your seat, and I have some more here at the front of the stage I'll pass out if you didn't get one, if there's not one on your seat. But what we're going to do here in a second is we're going to take some time and we're going to thank Jesus for what he did for us on the cross. And I love taking communion on Christmas season because I feel like it just brings everything completely full circle. Of this idea that when Jesus came, the humble nature in which he came as a baby in a manger. And then the humble nature that he had when he went to the cross for you and me. And that idea that we get to celebrate the beginning of what was our redemption. And so if you would, with me, just take a moment and we'll pray. And you can spend some time as you take the bread and the juice, and we'll get back into worship. God, we just thank you for tonight. We thank you for the time that we get to gather together, and I'm thankful for all the students here in this room. I'm thankful for the opportunity to together get to take the bread and the cup and what they represent. Father, we are so lost without you, and we thank you for sending your Son to die for us. And I just pray that this Christmas season and in 2024, this year ahead of us, we could treat every day like communion, where we examine ourselves and look at what are we doing with the gift that you've given us. So we love you and we thank you. It's in your Son's name that I pray. Amen.
Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Savior's birth. Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till he appeared, and the soul felt his word. A thrill of hope, the weary world rejoices, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. Fall on your knees. Oh, hear the angel voices. Oh, night divine. Oh, night when Christ was born. Oh, night his gospel is peace. Chains shall he break, for the slave is our brother, and in his name all oppression shall cease. Sweet hymns of joy in grateful chorus raise we, let all within us Behold, the King has come, divinity incarnate, creator of the world, breathe in our air. Behold, what light has come, in the dark cannot contain it. The Savior of our world is finally here. Come on, church. Oh, come, let us adore Him. Come, let us adore Him. For He alone is worthy, Christ the Lord.
Behold the Father's love beyond all comprehension. He gave His only Son to die in our place.
Though it seems an empty tomb, He's not there, for He is risen. Every heart prepared Him room. Jesus Christ, the King of heaven. Oh, come, let us adore Him. Come, let us adore Him. For He alone is worthy, Christ the Lord. We give You all the glory. We give You all the glory. We give You all the glory, Christ the Lord. We give You all the glory. We give You all the glory. We give You all the glory, Christ the Lord. We praise Your name forever. We praise Your name forever. We praise Your name forever, Christ the Lord. Oh, come, let us adore Him. Come, let us adore Him. For He alone is worthy, Christ the Lord. Come on, church, let's sing it. Oh, come, let us adore Him. Come, let us adore Him. For He alone is worthy, Christ the Lord. Christ the Lord. It's Christ the Lord.
Yeah. Not gonna lie. Those were like my two favorite Christmas songs. So nicely done, Alex. And she already walked off, but Jose and Alexis, you guys were perfect for that song. So great stuff, great stuff. My notes fell off while I was walking back here, and so I didn't know if I was like, it was chaotic, but man, super pumped to get into the Word tonight, to kind of look at the Christmas story. Again, thanks for being here. I don't really know in recent memory when we have done one of these, a high school only Christmas service. So super, super pumped. I might just say that you're a part of the first, but yeah, cool stuff. I'm sure you're super honored, and you will write that on your grave. So super, super cool. I'm not a super big. That's not true. Okay, I just lied. I do like Christmas, but if I'm being honest and if I'm being transparent, I'm not huge into all the different Christmas elements. I'm not one who is into necessarily Christmas movies like a ton or Christmas songs. Someone just like said amen or said like that was terrible or something, but I'm just not super into it. Like I get a lot of hate because I don't like the movie Elf. I don't think it's that cool. It seems like you guys don't mind that take, okay? But yeah, I mean, Christmas movies and Christmas songs, there already are. Silas's birthday is on Christmas, so that's a great part about Christmas. But everyone forgets about Si because when you share a birthday with Jesus, it's a little bit hard, tough competition. So it is what it is. But but one thing I've always enjoyed about Christmas is obviously the time with family. And growing up, one of the very cool things about how Christmas would kind of lay out, and I feel like it's almost the same way now, except I'm just a part of either hosting or running some of the parties, and so it's more stressful and not as like cool. But something that I would love about Christmas is kind of how the whole month we celebrated it. Like how at the beginning of the month there would be a party or an event. And I'm sorry, that haze is going to distract me. I'm going to have to turn it off, okay? I kept looking at it. That's my bad. I'm sorry. Anyways, act like that didn't happen. But listen, I love Christmas throughout the whole month. And you get different parties, and it would start kind of like at the beginning of the month, and then it would kind of work its way through it, and then you'd have like 10 different Christmas parties. And the one that I don't know if this was officially the first of the month, but the one that always felt that way was growing up Christmas at Granny's. And I don't know if you have different Christmases that you go to with family members, but they always have different like parts about it, okay? So like Granny's was in a really big house, and there would be tons of different people, and I'd see a bunch of my cousins, and it was fun. But come on, why do we all love Christmas with family? Because of presents. All right, more or less, all right? We do love spending time with people, but at the end of the day, a lot of people are like, yeah, give me all the presents and all the different gifts, okay? And so, I love Granny. I had a lot in common with my granny, which was weird because she was like 80, but, we both loved Jesus, we both loved Kentucky, and then we both loved Disney princess movies. And don't ask me. Afterwards, I'll sing you a whole song of part of your world, and you can take my man card from me, and I won't really care. But because The Little Mermaid slaps, I'm gonna be real. But anyways, But anyways, I get there and we're doing the presents, and we're excited about it. Opening up presents, and all the kids are ready, and they're driving insane. And so, it's time. It's game time. Let's open the presents. And, if you've been to the different family ones where it's like everyone, all the kids, just open them up at once, usually that means that it's like mostly the same gift. I'm just going to be real, if it's all open up at once. But, so we do it, and I open it up, and I'm like, okay, here it is. Here's my gift. I'm excited. And it's a scarf. That's not even me. Okay, hang on. That's my brother wearing the scarf because I was too embarrassed to take a picture with it. But are you kidding me? In America, a scarf on Christmas. That's terrible. Free country. How can we do that to kids? But part of me was thinking, I'm 7 at this time. I'm not 6 anymore, I'm 7. I'm a little bit more mature. Okay, maybe this is the first gift and there's more coming, and this is the warm-up gift. No, it was just a scarf, and I was like, what is this? I was so disrespectful about it. I'm pretty sure my dad took me out in the backyard, beat me with the scarf, and then made me eat it in front of him. I still poop cotton sometimes. It was traumatic. That didn't really happen, but, he was pretty mad. So I'm like, bro, what a scarf? You gotta be kidding me. But thankfully, I did get this on Christmas that year. You can go to the next one. I got a Star Wars AT-AT. Yeah, and so it was cool, fun times. That's what I got. One of my big gifts for Christmas that year. So it made it work. Okay, the scarf. I couldn't find the scarf. It probably got thrown away. I don't know what happened to it. But I want to ask you a question. There's a reason I tell you that story. I don't just tell you that story just to make you giggle a little bit. There is a tension behind it. But I have this question for you. How do you determine the value of a gift? I want you to think about that for a second. I want that to kind of just be on the back of your mind while we dig into our passage tonight, because I feel like this is an important question to answer correctly as Christians. On how do we determine a value of a gift? This year, there's going to be tons of gifts that are given out. We kind of played a game in the warehouse about it, but people are going to get jerseys, video games, makeup, shoes, toys, gift cards, cash, furniture, candy, tickets, equipment, and of course, socks, because everyone gets socks on Christmas in their stocking, it feels like. But how do you determine the value of a gift? And if you ask everybody for their opinion, if you try to do different algorithms, or if you try to figure out, okay, like, what's the true value of a gift? I think that nobody would really come to the same answer, but I want you to know that for us as Christians, it's important that we have the same answer. That's important. This month, we've kind of looked at a series named The First Awkward Christmas. And the idea of the series is that in the Christmas story, there's kind of like different elements and different aspects of the story that are pretty awkward. That if you were to look at them, they're not really normal. And if we were to look at our own lives, most of the time, the holidays actually aren't super normal. And they're not always perfect. And sometimes they're awkward. And the different elements of the story that are awkward, there's lessons in them about the different aspects of the story that are a little different, that might be a little weird. And so the first week we looked at an awkward ask that Mary was given in to carry the Son of the Most High. That this awkward ask that she had, that, okay, what am I going to do with this? Like, what do I do? Do I go through with what the angel has asked me to do? And how there's going to be times that if you follow Jesus, he's going to ask you to do some awkward things. But are you okay with that? Is that something that you feel comfortable with doing? Are you willing to answer and to follow through with awkward asks that God may have for you? And so then the other week we looked at Joseph. We kind of had this lateral move of Mary to Joseph, and the awkward situation that he found himself in as his fiancée is now pregnant with Jesus. And he's like, what do I do? And in particular, we looked at telling people about Jesus and how if you're a Christian, you're going to do awkward things in awkward situations for him. That you need to be willing to do those things. And so tonight we kind of finish this idea with an awkward gift. An awkward gift of Christmas, and the fascinating part of awkward gifts. Tonight we're going to be in the book of Matthew, and I just love the book of Matthew because I think that Matthew, with his job of being a tax collector, I think he just really cared about details. I don't really have any evidence, or it doesn't necessarily say that in the Bible. It's just kind of my interpretation. But if you look at the other three Gospels, there's just different details, and there's just more information in the book of Matthew than it just seems like in the different Gospels, and especially when it comes to the Christmas story. And so with this tonight, we're going to kind of look at an element that isn't in the other Gospel of Luke, where it looks at the Christmas story, but something that Matthew touched on that I think was super, super important. If you know the story of Christmas, like we've talked about kind of the things leading up to Christmas, but the actual story, you've probably heard it a million times, but I kind of just want to refresh you maybe if you forgot or if you haven't heard it before. But you see there's this story, and they're going, Mary and Joseph, to Bethlehem. Okay, so now Bethlehem, Silas was looking at this earlier in the week. Our comparison to Indiana, in southern Indiana, would probably be like Borden. Okay, so they're going to this small country town. All right, and they're going, and what they're doing is they're doing this thing called a census, and I had to make sure I said that right because for some reason I struggled to say that word. But they're going, and basically they're just going to count how many people register with Bethlehem. All right, so if we did Jeffersonville, all right, and some of you live in Charlestown, Silver Creek, or I guess it's Sellersburg, but you get what I'm saying. But we're going to do the census for Jeffersonville, okay? So we're going to meet at the Burger King on 10th Street, and we're all going to go there. And Burger King is hated on for no reason, all right? I actually like Burger King, and some of you are vomiting in your mouth. But you get the fries, you get the one little onion ring in there. I'm getting off topic. But we go to the Burger King, and we're all going to meet there, and we're going to see, okay, who registers with Jeffersonville. And that's kind of what they're doing. So they show up, and they do their thing, but they find out that there's no place to stay. And that's super bad news because Mary goes into labor. And so it's like, okay, where do we go? Where do we stay? We got to figure this out. And so they go to what a lot of people kind of think of as this barn, which in reality it was probably more like a cave. But there's this barn, this cave area full of animals, and they go there and have baby Jesus. And they put him in the manger, and he's lying there. And that's kind of where we are with our story tonight, and that kind of sets the stage at the beginning of Matthew chapter 2, and where we're introduced to a couple new Christmas characters that are pretty cool. So let's look at this. After Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea, during the time of King Herod, Magi from the east came to Jerusalem and asked, "Where is the one who has been born King of the Jews? We saw his star when it rose and have to come to worship him." Now there's there's kind of an underlying tone about this that I thought this was kind of weird. These wise men, and I don't know exactly why they're called wise men, but the Magi, they go and they ask King Herod, okay, do you know about this cat? And King Herod is the craziest dude alive. He's the most evil dude alive. He's killed tons of people. He's psychotic. He's like, Anthony, you rose your hand that you should get some coal. He's like 1,000,000 times worse than you, okay? And you're not that bad, all right, I promise. But he's terrible. And so they go to him, and they're like, hey, heard of this cat? Where's he at? And this is interesting to me because King Herod had to have been the cockiest dude alive. Like, he had to have been super full of himself. So I want you to think about something for a second. I know there's a lot of adults in the room, and think about maybe like your workplace adults. But think of your school, and think of the most popular kid in your school. Okay, think about that for a second. I even seen you like mouth it to somebody, okay? So you know, all right, this is the most popular person in the school. And he might be popular for bad reasons, I don't know. But like, think about him for a second. And you walk up to him, and you're like, hey, whatever your name is, all right? Where is the new kid? Have you seen him? Have you heard of him? Where's he at? And if you're the popular kid, you're probably thinking like, who in the world are you talking to, first of all? And then second, why? Like, who's the new kid? Who cares about the new kid? Do you not know who I am? There's probably some of this element with the Magi in King Herod of like, okay, who are you talking about? So this probably's got him thinking a little bit, all right? Who is this guy? So now we go to verse 7. We're fast forward a little bit. And it says, then Herod called the Magi secretly and found out from them the exact time the star had appeared. He sent them to Bethlehem and said, "Go and search carefully for the child. As soon as you find him, report to me so that I may too go and worship him." Now, this is not exactly why Herod cares about where the kid's at. This is a lie that he tells because he wants to kill Jesus. All right, the analogy, the equivalent for your story, for your school, was he wants to find the dude and stuff him in a locker, okay? So he's like, where is he at? I want you to go find them for me. And so the wise men, they continue their journey. They're like, okay, King Herod's not that much help. And we look at verse 11. And it says, on coming to the house, they saw the child with his mother Mary, and they bowed down and worshiped him. Then they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Now, forgive me for saying this, but I think that if you haven't thought this before, you're either lying to yourself or you don't read the Bible. And so there you go. You have your New Year's resolutions. Either stop lying or start reading the Bible. Okay, that'd be cool. But look, why in the world do the wise men give Jesus gold, frankincense, and myrrh? Like, that stuff, I guess, is cool, but like, what's the point about that? Like, for a baby, nonetheless, like, why in the world do they give him these gifts? And I've always been fascinated by this, of like, that seems like an odd thing to do. Like, maybe give him like a bottle or some puffs. I don't know, do babies still eat puffs? But like, give him an appropriate gift, like gold, frankincense, and myrrh. That doesn't really seem to make much sense. These awkward gifts that the Magi give Jesus. But as I looked at it this week, I kind of got a different perspective about that. Because a lot of me looking at this passage growing up, I was like, this is kind of a weird gift. Like, cool, you gave him some stuff that he maybe will use one day, but like, nice. The cool thing about the wise men's gift to baby Jesus is not necessarily the possession that they give him, but instead the heart that they give Jesus in giving him the gifts. That the fact that they gave the Savior of the world these possessions of theirs that they had for themselves. And you kind of see the awe that they went not just to experience Jesus, not just to experience the baby, not just to say, okay, I got to go through this super cool thing. I got to go see Jesus when he was in the manger. They don't go for the experience, but rather they go to honor Jesus. And a lot of times, if we look at ourselves, there's moments where we come in here or we think about church or being in a relationship with Jesus, and we're thinking, okay, what do I get from this? What's the experience or the spiritual thing that can happen to make me feel something in my efforts in doing so? Like, what's the point of this? Like, can I get something out of it? Where these guys go miles and miles to give Jesus something, to honor him. And how us as Christians need to look at how are we honoring God with our gifts, with our talents, with our skills, with the things that we can do. We all have things that we think we're good at. And how are you honoring God with those things? How are you valuing the gifts? Because the Magi valued their gift with the heart. It wasn't necessarily the possessions itself. So I kind of want to look at some ways that I think you can honor God with our gifts, that we can honor God with the things that he's given us. And the first thing that I want you to get this season is don't forget about where you came from or about who got you there. It's kind of the same sort of idea, but don't forget about who got you there. You see, the Magi, they're traveling, and what are they led by? They're led by a star. It's not like they just hopped in the convertible and knew how to get there and they're like, we're going to go see Jesus. No, they were led there. And a lot of times, there's parts of our life that God leads us, or that we've been led to a path or an opportunity, or we've been given something, and we're really quick to forget about who blessed us with that, or who got us there. Or we're really quick to forget that maybe God did 95% of the work, and then it was my obedience that did the other 5% to get it to be complete. And I'm telling you, you need to be obedient to what God wants you to do in your life. You need to add that 5%. But then don't be self-righteous and forget about the 95%. Don't forget about who got you there. For the wise men, it was the star. Another thing that I want you to look at is to have confidence in God. That when you have God on your side, there's not an arrogance about what you have, about your gifts, but there's a confidence because you know who gave it to you. If you look at the story with the Magi, you know, they're trying to go find Jesus, but a super impactful thing about it to me is they had somebody who tried to throw them off the intention on why they were going, and they didn't let that happen. They didn't let Herod distract them or get in the way on their purpose, on their idea, on why they were going to see Jesus. And you know, if you're a Christian, that there's a power that wants you to not use your gifts for God. That the enemy and the evil one wants you to have the things in your life that are gifts and that God has given you. He wants you to get off track on those things, to not use those things for Him. And so don't let Herod or the Herods of the world get in the way of you using what God gave you to glorify Him. Don't let him get in the way of you using those gifts. And then I also want you to open your treasures. Looking at verse 11 one more time here in the story, it says, "Then they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh." I like this idea of opening your treasures because I think that it wasn't like the Magi planned, okay, what should we give Jesus? Maybe that's what happened, but I just have a different interpretation of it. Rather, I think they took the treasure that they had and said, we're going to show up and we're going to give him everything we got. That they open it up and they say, okay, we got the gold, we got the frankincense and myrrh here. He can have it all. I want Jesus to just have it all. It wasn't an intention of like, okay, these are the three things that we want him to have, but this is what we have, and I'm giving it to Jesus. And so for your gifts, for your abilities, for your skills, for your talents, give them all to Jesus. Open up the treasure that God's given you and just give it to him. Allow him to use every part of your life. Because what I've found is when you only let God use a part of your life, it doesn't work. It doesn't work to just give him a small piece. It's not the same significance, the same value that if you were to give God everything, if you were to honor him with every skill that you have, with every ability that you have, even the ones that maybe you don't feel like you can honor God with. Last year, I think I really understood the heart behind gifts for the first time, like the importance of having heart behind something, not just like possessions or a price tag. I'm terrible at giving gifts, okay? I'm absolutely terrible at it. I'm terrible at wrapping. I'm terrible at shopping. Like, it's just the worst combination, okay? But I was looking at, okay, some of the gifts that I'm going to give last year, and two people that are honestly pretty hard to shop for are my parents, because they're not, like, it's not like they have anything that they're super crazy about. They like experiences than possessions. But I didn't know really what to get them, and I brainstormed with Bailey and with my two brothers, and okay, we got the perfect gift for mom and dad. We figured it out. I know what we need to get them. And so on Christmas morning, you know how parents, I was talking about earlier how like kids usually go first, but like parents always seem to go last. And it was towards the end of the morning, and we give them the gift, and my mom opens it up, and it's pretty small. It's a pretty small gift. And when she sees it, she just starts bawling. And what we had gotten them was, me and my two brothers, we kind of snuck away, and we went to New Chapel Park and dressed up, and we took a picture of the three of us and framed it. And the most simple gift ever, just a picture of the three of us, was exactly what they wanted. Because it was the intention, the heart behind the gift, not necessarily exactly what it was. The heart and the meaning that went behind the picture of the three of us ugly dudes sitting there at the park. I want to invite the band to join me. We're going to do one more song. And I was talking to Alex about the service a couple weeks ago, and I was like, you know, this is kind of the idea of the sermon, and here's kind of the theme. Like, I don't know what you think we should do, but I don't really have anything. Like, usually I think of creative elements or stuff that we could use, and I just had kind of not been able to think of anything. And pretty quickly, Alex kind of looked at me from his desk and said, "The little drummer boy." And I kind of looked at him and I was like, what? Like, I told you earlier, I don't know a ton about like Christmas songs and stuff. I'm kind of a noob. But I was like, how does that make any sense? Like, isn't that the song with the Pum-Pums? Like, what does that have to do with Christmas? Well, he said, okay, give me a second. And I'm thinking, like, dude, like, why is this the worship pastor he gave me? This guy, like, what is this? He pulls up the lyrics, and I gotta say, is exactly the heart of what I want you to get this Christmas season. So I'm gonna read some of the lyrics to you, and I took out the Pum-Pums, but I want you to just listen for a second to the beauty of these words. Come, they told me, a newborn king to see. Our finest gifts we bring to lay before the king. Little baby I am, a poor boy too. I have no gift to bring that fits to give our king. Shall I play for you on my drum? Mary nodded. The ox and lamb kept time. I played my drum for him. I played my best for him. Then he smiled at me and my drum, me and my drum. You see, God gives us the greatest gift that will ever be given in his Son. There will never be a gift that will ever compare to Jesus, but for us as Christians, what we can value for the gift, for the awkward gifts that we have in return, is that whatever they are, we give them for Jesus. Even if it's gold, if it's frankincense, if it's myrrh, if it's a picture, even if it's drums and scarves. God, we just thank you for this day that you've given us to celebrate your Son. This idea of the perfect gift. And it's like, how do we give anything that could come close to that? And the answer is that we can't, but I think the way that you want us to value ourselves is that the ideas and the gifts and the elements of our lives that you've given us, that we would just give them all to you. So I pray that whatever those things may be, that we could give them to you as just a way of saying thank you for your Son. It's in his name that I pray. Amen.
They told me, pa-rum-pum-pum-pum, a newborn king to see, pa-rum-pum-pum-pum. Our finest gifts we bring, pa-rum-pum-pum-pum, to lay before the king. Rum-pum-pum-pum, rum-pum-pum-pum, rum-pum-pum-pum. So to honor him, rum-pum-pum-pum, when we
Little baby, pa-rum-pum-pum-pum. I am a poor boy too, pa-rum-pum-pum-pum. I have no gifts to bring, pa-rum-pum-pum-pum. That's fit to give our King, pa-rum-pum-pum-pum, rum-pum-pum-pum, rum-pum-pum-pum.
shall I play for you, pa-rum-pum-pum-pum, on my
Every night, pa-rum-pum-pum-pum.
He smiled at me, pa-rum-pum-pum-pum, beat my drum.
All right. You heard the good news. Whatever you got, doesn't matter what it is, bring it to him, and he will be glad that you brought it as long as it's from the heart. You guys are dismissed. Have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas and a Happy New Year in case we don't see you then. So, see you guys.